And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. I apologize for interrupting your lovely duct tape, but our players are here, and that's why we're here. We're here to cast some goddamn StarCraft, because spawning in the top right hand corner of Data C, we have the Peruvian Zerg player himself. I want to see some condors out there for the CranKy Duckling himself, Ryu. There's so many people in the chat who don't know what that's about. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Data C, we have the Brazilian Protoss player himself representing Amantes de StarCraft. It is MasTeR. And yeah, MasTeR did ask for a little bit of a break earlier, but now we are here in the swing of things. Both of our players are ready. We can now begin. I was asking MasTeR a little bit about his clan tag. I was like, yo, are you on a new team? What's going on? And he said that Hellfire equals Amantes de StarCraft. So I don't know if that means that Amantes are going to rebrand and become Hellfire, or maybe Hellfire is like a branch of Amantes or something like that. I'm not too certain what's going to happen there, but we'll see how things unfold. Because it'll be a little bit sad if that was the case, that they rebrand, because Amantes, I don't know if you saw the logo, but like there's history behind Amantes de StarCraft. For those who don't know, it's basically like love for StarCraft, and it's a love heart for a reason. It's basically like a congregation of like different Brazilian teams. I want to say like Death Zone Gaming's, Host MasTeR, and a couple of others. The Bad Clan, like I think they all kind of came together to make tournaments, and they also formed a team as well. I'm not too certain how it all works and who's in charge of what, but yeah, like there's definitely like history behind the team name, and I don't know, I'd be a little bit sad if they changed to Hellfire. shaking my head. But yeah, regardless, same team here for MasTeR. As we're getting into the swing of things, going to be a Stargate opener for MasTeR. And looking at the Overlord pathing, it looks like Ryu has seen the tech. He's fully aware that it's not going to be a Twilight Council, that it is going to be that commitment into air toss for the time being. So everything is looking pretty standard from our Protoss player. Pretty standard. Meanwhile, on the other side of things, we have likewise, you know, we're just droning for the time being. Ryu just making sure that nothing crazy is going on. Do you see the first adept rocking up? But again, the first adept hasn't really been able to get too much done. The queen was in position. We have Lings as well to chase a shade. More importantly, Ryu is actually sending his Lings out to take control of the watchtowers. Oh my god. You love to see it. So with this, he's going to have better vision of the first air unit coming out. He's going to be able to see what it's going to be and where it's going to go. Checking here, Ryu actually dipped in with his Overlord. He confirmed that it was going to be Oracle first, not a Void Ray or a Phoenix, so he should feel that much safer with his Overlord, as he does hide it here towards the northern part of the map. And Spore's already done. Got a Spore in the main, got a Spore at the third, Spore at the natural, the unnatural natural. Soon I imagine a Spore at the third base as well. Oh my god. As a massive shout out to Wooman12 for the raid of 10. Thank you so much, Wooman. Hope you enjoyed your stream. I imagine it was StarCraft related. And welcome everyone. Welcome to Sentimiento Latino. If you don't know what that is a bi-weekly tournament for Latin American players. And here we are in the semifinals, here with our Brazilian Protoss going up against our Peruvian Zerg. And so far, nothing really too much of significance. Pneumatized Carapace did finish up. Overlord is diving on in, and with this scout, he confirms the gateways, he confirms the Twilight Council, so he knows about the transition into ground toss, but there are certain things that he is not aware of. He does confirm the gases at the natural, so he knows it shouldn't be any kind of charge based composition, but he hasn't seen the forge yet. So for all he knows, this could actually be a transition into Glaive Adepts. Third base is on the way. Has Ryu spotted this? Ryu has seen this here. with his Ling. We do see a Roach Warren is on the way as well, a safety Roach Warren just in case. He's even setting up some SimCity here to block off any kind of shade into the natural, just in case the War Adept's coming out. Outside of that though, he's free to drain. Oracles dive in once again. Ooh, overextending a little bit. One of them taking a lot of damage here for only 2 workers. So the defense by Ryu has been insane. His droning has been beautiful to say the least. He's been able to get his 4th base up and running. So he hasn't really been slowed down here by these Oracles at all. I should say these Oracles just haven't paid for themselves yet, but they're still alive. They still have potential for damage. Meanwhile, with this Roach Warren, Ryu is committed to Roaches. +1 range is on the way, Roach speed as well, so he's not going for the +1 melee response. With his Overseer Scout, he sees the Forge. He knows 100% it is going to be Blink Stalkers. Speaking of Blink Stalkers, the first wave of Stalkers are moving out across time. They catch an Overlord here in the center. Ooh, do end up supply blocking Ryu a little bit. Thankfully, Ryu does have a couple of Roaches already coming out, and he's going for a bit of a Ling run by at the same time. Does he have enough at home to defend here, as a couple of stasis traps are being thrown down to protect these Stalkers from any kind of surrounds? Lings go for a run by, but with an Adept and with a shield battery, it looks like MasTeR has more than enough to defend at home. And can Ryu hold on to his 4th base? He has 20 Lings in production, but they're in production. They're not ready yet. Oh, and it looks like the hatchery is going to end up falling. Ryu just barely didn't have enough at home to defend here. He wasn't aware of the move out either until it was a little bit too late. And with this momentum, MasTeR is going to keep on pushing forward. Going to get a couple of creep tumors here with those revelations. With these 20 Lings, MasTeR has to be careful not to overextend here. Like, if he sticks around too much longer, he will get surrounded. I say that as the Lings actually stay across the map. Uh-oh. Yeah, he's going for a Dropper Lord instead. Bold move here. Can Ryu defend at the same time as harassing? That's the thing. Are these Lings not needed at home? Potentially not. I mean, we'll see if he forces a recall. We have Lings already in the natural base. We have Lings here in the main at the same time. MasTeR is actually backing up. A couple of Warping of Zealots aren't going to be enough here. 10 probes already going down. The Lings just overwhelm the reinforcements, and they get even more probes. And every single Stalker comes home. Oh my god. This does end up buying a lot of time here for Ryu. He takes down the pylon, which means MasTeR cannot reinforce across the map. A couple of stasis traps were triggered as well. And now suddenly MasTeR is the one who's supply blocked. Boy, so Ryu was able to buy so much time here in his defense. The army supplies are still relatively even in favor of MasTeR, even as he blinks on forward and takes down a couple more Roaches and Ravagers. Ooh. Takes a couple of bios to the face though. Like, this is still very close. Like, MasTeR once again going to be dying this 4th base. But finally, the army here of Ryu can actually contend with that of MasTeR. At the same time, he goes for another Dropper Lord. Like, despite whatever's in his face, despite the fact that even at times MasTeR has more army supply in the face of Ryu, he doesn't care. He goes for the drops anyway. Oracles at home are enough to clean this up though. Couple more Stalkers going down. Ryu double expanded, so even though his northern base was cancelled, he was able to get a hatchery up and running. It is going to start mining. He is going to have it for larva, which is probably the most important thing. And as MasTeR tries to find a way in, the scary thing about this is that MasTeR is losing Stalkers and he can't reinforce. There's no War Prism because there was no Robo. The pylon earlier was taken out and he hasn't replaced it. There is just no reinforcement point. Oof. MasTeR once again losing a couple more of these Stalkers. Biles rain down on him as well. Ryu forced to get a macro hatch. He knows how desperate he needs this larva. But I think the worst is past him. I think now he has, for the most part, stabilized. He has enough Ravagers. He's getting Lurkers out as well. As he was defending, he was taking up. I thought maybe this would be a little bit too greedy, and maybe it is. These Lurkers are exposed. Oof. And one lurker goes down, but because there's no robo, there is no detection. We need the oracles here. We need the revelations. Oracles unfortunately activate their pulsar beam here offensively, so there are no revelations, there are no observers, there is just zero detection. With that, just Ryu cannot be broken. MasTeR's trying to find a way in, and to be fair, there aren't any lurkers here. Never mind, I spoke too soon. There are 2 lurkers here at the southern base. Again, with that, Ryu, he will be able to defend, getting into more Hydras. Infestation Pit is on the way. I appreciate that he delayed taking all the way into Hive, knowing that that was a little bit too risky, but now that he's safe with lurkers, he can do so. Shout out to the Lair Tech lurkers. We kind of have a revelation, kind of. It does tag 2 lurkers, but only 2. And MasTeR has to calm down and throw down some robos. Like, there we go. Not just for detection, but like trying to brute force your way through lurkers just isn't going to happen unless you have something like Immortals or Archons or, you know, a Skytoss transition, Disruptors even, something other than Pure Blink Stalker. A Pure Blink Stalker has a place, but like, look at this, it's ridiculous. Oh my god. Don't get me wrong, there is a lot of power to be had here, but I feel like as soon as you get a whiff of a transition into lurkers, and as soon as you recognize that you cannot break like the defensive lines, you need to get into those robos as soon as possible. But now it just may be too late. What I mean by that, what I worry about, is that Ryu is maxed, and soon he's going to be pushing across the map with these lurkers, and I don't know if he can be stopped. Yeah, lurkers already headed across the map. I say that, but we see a massive blink on forward there. A lot of Ravagers go down here for Ryu, but I don't think he cares, because what he loses in Ravagers, he's making up for in Hydras. He's refining his army. Lurkers, they go across the map. Cannon a little bit out of position, which means there's just zero mining here at the third base. At the same time, a bit of a Zealot Rumba here at the third, but you know what? Ryu was already here. He already had Lurkers burrowed. Hydras coming out. We see a blink forward into lurker range. MasTeR, not like this, Papi, not like this. Immortals are coming out, and Immortals can do well against lurkers, but the problem is that you need a mass amount of Immortals, and you brute force your way through, and you target the lurkers down. Like this, I don't see it working. But we'll see. We'll see, as Immortals are being banked up at home. We have 3 already, 2 more on the way, 5 in total. Now that the Hive is done, we do have those lurker upgrades. And you know what? MasTeR, he is picking up a couple of lurkers here and there. I just don't know if it's the best trades. Because at the end of the day, Ryu does have that 4th, and he is slowly getting that 5th up and running as well. There we go. Observers are finally on the way. And now MasTeR's army is looking that much more competitive, you know, with the mass amount of Immortals. We have a couple of Archons as well, so he can soak up that lurker damage. Is it going to be enough? He's trying to force his way on through, going for the mass concave, but the concave towards the north and south on both fronts, he cannot break through. GG gets called, and Ryu takes game 1. Ay. MasTeR being a little bit stubborn with his army composition, just sticking with and committed so hard. He committed so hard to mass Blink Stalker. But that's the thing, whether it's lurkers or ultras, those are the 2 typical transitions, maybe even Muta as well. Whatever the Zerg player ends up taking towards, you have to respect that. You have to respect that, and you have to adapt yourself. And MasTeR refused. He refused for a long time, for a good 5+ minutes. He saw the lurkers and he's like, no, I will make this work. I will break you. I will not force you to, I will not allow you to force me to transition. I want to make this Mass Blink Stalker work. And at a certain point, he's like, fine. he had to give up. He had to relent. Oh, sorry, I said relent. He had to just accept the situation that he was in, the position that he was in, and finally throw down those rovers, finally go towards Immortals. But by that point, like, the damage had been done. It was just too late. Too late, puppy. And with that, we are now getting into game number 2. And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Cosmic Sapphire, we have our Brazilian Protoss player representing Amantes de StarCraft. It is MasTeR. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Cosmic Sapphire, we have the Peruvian Zerg player himself representing the CranKy Ducklings. It is Ryu. You know, it looks like maybe Wooman was Portuguese. Maybe. Fala galera, papi. As we do have a couple of MasTeR fans in the chats. Again, there's a little love there in the Brazilian community. Don't get me wrong. And MasTeR is the best Protoss player in all of Brazil. F's in the chat for Shakti, as Shakti is no longer competing in StarCraft. He transitioned into casting for a little bit. Now I don't really know what Shakti is up to. If you do know in the chat, let me know. But MasTeR is there. He is, again, a very strong contender in the Latin American scene. But he's down 0-1 in this series. Can he bring it back? He definitely can. But again, he has to be more willing to adapt to what the Zerg player is doing if he does go for that Blink Stalker style. And if he does encounter lurkers. I see Gustavo in the chat as well. Yo, fala galera, papi. Shout out to Gustavo, aka Games Kingdom, in the chat. Oh my god, we used to cast Batalla de las Americas together, Battle of the Americas, last year. Unfortunately, Battle of the Americas isn't a thing anymore. But yeah, really cool to see you, man. Really cool to see you. Less than 3, papi, less than 3. Oh my god. Oh. And yeah, with that, so we are now getting into our second game here. Ryu already being able to prove his worth once getting into lurkers. Again, I said this in the last series. I'm going to reiterate it. Ryu did earn the nickname the Lurker King earlier, 2-3 years ago now. Jesus Christ, when that's just what he would do in every single matchup. Tech his way into lurkers and make some magic happen, even before lurkers were meta in ZvT. Fun fact. It's just his unit of choice. It's amazing. It's beautiful. But we'll see if MasTeR decides to switch things up here. So far, so standard. We see a Stargate opener here for those oracles. He's going across the map with his first adept, has a second one on the way for the double adept. We did see that last game he only went for 1, and because of that he wasn't able to really be aggressive and try and hunt down any workers of Ryu. But it looks like this game he may opt to be a little bit more aggressive with these 2 adepts once he does have them. We'll see. Meanwhile, Ryu once again dipped on in, and he did see the first unit being built by MasTeR, so he knows about the Oracle opener. He knows that it's not going to be a Void Ray or anything like that. Doesn't have eyes on the third base yet. Not yet. As MasTeR is going to be a little bit more defensive with his adepts. Not too concerned with going across the map. More concerned with establishing his third, making sure Lings don't slow him down. I respect it. Meanwhile, this is something else iconic to Ryu. I don't know if you noticed it, but in his ZvT against Sinner, every game, Ryu would go into pneumatized carapace. He wouldn't pull out a gas. Likewise, here in ZvP as well. He goes from Link speed into Overlord speed, so he can get that second scout off. It's just a secure way to ensure that he knows what's happening. There are some players that say that this is inefficient, and it is, don't get me wrong. If you're good enough, you can scout without Overlord speed, and you can rely on slow Overlords and positioning and a faster lair and other means. But Ryu, he just wants to be safe and secure. He wants to just make sure he always knows what his opponent is doing. So with that, with Overlord speed, he is able to go back into the main base. He sees both the Twilight Council and the Forge. This can mean only one thing: Blink Stalkers. So he knows, once again, it's not going to be something like, I don't know, Charge on Archon. He knows it's not going to be Glaive Adepts. He knows it is going to be that hero style. Again, just really nice scouting here by Ryu. He confirms a third base as well, so he knows that he's free to drone, take all of his gases, take a fourth base behind this. Has to be careful because, you know, MasTeR does have triple Oracle, and he's threatening a lot of these mineral lines, but doesn't find a way in yet. Even here, we do see 3 Adepts headed towards the third base, but the drones are pulled immediately. The Adepts get cleaned up, and maybe a drone died in that, but only one. Oh. Meanwhile, the Oracles, they've had enough. They just dive in anyway. The Queens were out of position because of the Adepts, and because of that, 6 drones go down. This time, well worth it for MasTeR. And this is a big difference compared to last game. Last game, MasTeR wasn't able to deal any harassing damage at all, to be honest. And because of that, Ryu was able to comfortably drone up and comfortably take his way up into Roach Ravager, eventually Lurker. Here, MasTeR is being much more aggressive. He knows it's imperative that he slows down Ryu in some way. And so far, he's been able to do so. Ryu is getting a 4th base and re-droning and getting back up to full saturation on 3 bases. For the most part, getting up to that 66 drone count, which is ideal. And MasTeR isn't looking to be aggressive anytime soon. He's setting himself up defensively here at the 3rd base. We have a 4th base on the way already. We have Charge behind this 2nd Forge. Unlike the last game, MasTeR isn't really going for a mass gateway explosion and a big timing with his Stalkers. He's still taking up behind it. He's moving out with Stalkers, don't get me wrong, but this is a significantly lower amount than that of last game. He's just here to poke and prod, maybe deny the 4th if he's lucky. And lucky he is not, as Ryu does end up sniping. Oh my god, 1 Stalker. Was that worth it? I don't know. As Ryu gets his 4th up and running, MasTeR does not let up. Again, he has to be careful not to lose too much here. He did end up losing 1 Stalker earlier. Just continuing to warp in, reinforce, and just hit this 4th. Not finding any economic damage though, and what's scary is that every single gas is being taken. Why? Hydrogen was already thrown down. Lurker Den is on the way. Ryu is looking to transition into Lurkers much faster compared to last game. And we'll see if he's going to be punished for his greed, because you know what? MasTeR is unrelenting with his reinforcements. He just keeps on warping, keeps on pushing out across the map with these Stalkers. Has been trading, but Ryu's done it. He defended long enough, well enough to get into Lurkers. And once Lurkers are out, we saw that Blink Stalkers can't really contend with them. Not without detection. There we go, the first Lurker bars here at the 4th base location. MasTeR immediately pivots around. He's trying to find another way to break in. Skirting the edges of the map. Going to be able to clear up a lot of this creep, but Ryu isn't too far behind. Again, I don't really think MasTeR intends to break into any base here, just clearing up whatever creep he can. Oh. But again, maybe venturing too far into creep here. Just a little bit. As Ryu's still only on 67 workers. Oh my god, looking to maybe even hit a Lurker timing here. I mean, I understand that he had to stay on a low drone count to get into Lurkers this quickly, but thankfully he is now starting to drone up a little bit more. He is going to be catching up. I say catch up because MasTeR, look at his economy. His 4th is fully up and running. He's working on the gold base as well. He's up to 82 workers. It's insane. While Ryu's been taking, MasTeR has been expanding. And he's already working on his robo. He has learned from the last game. He knows that his transition into Immortals was just far too late in game number 1. And he's making up for it here in game 2. And now, with this economy, with this army supply, it's gonna be difficult for Ryu to expand and take a 5th. It's gonna be difficult, but also necessary. Like, he's gonna need to take another base at some point. Sure, a hive is on the way, but... I'm worried for him, Papi. I'm worried. Oh, God. Meanwhile, the Zealots, they get on top, and they do manage to take down 2-3 lurkers in total. 2 lurkers. Not bad, not bad. Ryu trying his best to split up his army, and to be honest, Zealot run-bys aren't really going to find too much damage here because of the mass amount of lurkers. Ryu, looking at his vision, hasn't scattered the 4th base, hasn't scattered the 5th base either. He's in the dark. He doesn't know how far behind he is economically. Doesn't matter though, because he is just making non-stop lurkers. Jesus. Almost every single Hydra is being morphed into a lurker right now. And when it comes to the lurker push that's going to be coming soon, can MasTeR hold on? I don't know. Ooh. He walks into a field of spines. MasTeR trying to find another way in here towards the north. With all these spines, queens, and lurkers, I don't see this position being broken anytime soon. But I'm also waiting for Ryu to push out at some point. Zealot run by no. Not going to be ideal here. Those DPS down the base a little bit, but lurkers were just ready and waiting. While MasTeR once again trying to split up his army, trying to pull Ryu apart, but again, Ryu is just a wall. And he is getting his 5th. This is what I was worried about. Can he get a 5th up? And the answer is yes. And with that 5th, like, he can finally tech up. I mean, he's already got Hive. He's getting both of his lurker upgrades. He's already got adapted talents. Is lacking when it comes to the Evo upgrades, as he's only just now getting +1 carapace. God, there's just so many lurkers. I don't know what to say. We have 20 lurkers, Bob. Aye. MasTer's trying to set up for a bit of a backstab, but Ryu, he keeps up with this. Doesn't let him in. Lurkers on the front line looking a little bit exposed. As he does end up repositioning. Spire on the way behind this, so I imagine getting into Corruptor, Broodlord, mainly Broodlord if he needs to. What we're really lacking is finally Ryu does have eyes on that gold base is Vipers. Vipers would be amazing, and he's just been avoiding that tech. Oh, guys, we see a mass Zealot run by here. We don't care too much about Roaches, so losing the Roach Warren isn't the biggest of deals, but that's a lot of Zealots, and they're going to be able to break through. Ryu putting a lot of faith in these 2 lurkers, not going to lie. Oh, at the same time, an Immortal goes down. Earlier we had 20, now we have 27. We have 27 lurkers! Oh my god. The gold base is gonna go down, by the way. Is this gonna work? Maybe. We don't really have a buffer for the lurkers. They're just trying to cover themselves. Queens are not in position to transfuse. Barely on creep are gonna be able to keep these lurkers alive. And the Protoss army evaporates. GG gets cold. Oh my god. Despite the bank, despite the 3k bank, MasTeR loses all of his gas intensive units. GG gets cold, and Ryu moves on to the grand finals. Oh my god. What? What even just happened? Who needs Vipers when you just have 27 lurkers? That's all you need, Poppy. That is all you need. GG. To be fair, it wasn't just the lurkers. There were a couple of things that came into play there. One, after the first Zealot Rumbai got cleaned up on the left-hand side, I think MasTeR assumed Zealot Rumbais aren't going to work here, so he stopped. And that's when that's when he maneuvered and rotated the majority. He only left, remember, 2 lurkers there. The majority of the lurkers all went towards the main army instead. So he would have been vulnerable to more run-bys, but MasTeR wasn't aware, so he didn't go for them. Meanwhile, when it came to that main army, the Queen's transfuses came in clutch there. Every transfuse was basically 1 additional lurker. Would just bring back the lurker from the brink of death. And lurkers refused to die at some point. The creep spread was barely good enough